Join us right now to talk about the FTC antitrust suit against Amazon and the regulatory environment. Mozelle Thompson, the former FTC Commissioner. Good morning to you. You know, Andy made some pointed and fascinating comments just about the iRobot deal that was blocked and really the state of affairs as it relates to regulation right now, what they can buy, what they can't buy. As a result, I think you're seeing them do more partnerships. You're seeing the whole big tech universe do more partnerships. Do you see this changing anytime soon?
First of all, I want to say good morning, and that was a great interview. I thought it was very insightful because I think that is exactly what industry is thinking. They're thinking that we have to be on pins and needles trying to figure out where to go from here. I think that it's important to recognize that anything these companies do now are really viewed through a prism that the FTC and DOJ are looking through right now. They're looking through how big tech are using their power in order to maintain their market power, their share.
Right.
And so they're going to view everything, including what Mr. Zazzy saw was the integration of AI. You mentioned during your interview, for example, about that FTC is looking at AI with Microsoft and with Google and with Amazon. So I think it's important to recognize that they're going to continue to look at this, and it's not just for now. Don't forget the trial date is not until October of 2026 now. So they're going to keep gathering information to figure out, is Amazon using new technologies in order to maintain their market power? But it's important to recognize that, and I'm not sure all regulators totally grasp this, that the technology industry is iterative, that they build on innovations that they have, and sometimes they add to that by acquisition or by other types of cooperation. Now, there is and I think they're intended to be a chilling effect as to where companies can go with that right now. And I think that until the courts give them some guidance, they're going to be treading lightly.
Do you have an expectation that if former President Trump becomes the president come November, that all of these cases end or continue?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, because for one reason, don't forget that the case that the FTC brought against Meta was brought before this administration came in. Just before, but before, and the FTC has taken up the flag and run with it. So the real question is what is the balance of consumer benefit versus consumer harm? And I mentioned once before in an interview on CNBC that one of the challenges for the regulators here is that people really like Amazon and they really like the services they get and the way they're bundled together. So as you pointed out in your interview, that the stores are doing very well and that people seem to be benefiting from it and consumers seem to like it.
Are these good cases, though? Meaning on the law, are these good cases? The words that we heard from Andy Jassy suggested that this was overreach, that a lot of these cases may very well be beyond the law, that ultimately a judge is not going to side with the government.
I think the FTC and DOJ would tell you that they are pushing the boundaries here, that they are trying to establish new benchmarks in the law. And if you look at their new merger guidelines, for example, they tell you areas that they want to grow into, and they're being tested in court. So far, not all courts have accepted their new view of what the antitrust laws are. So there's two things here. There's the law itself it's written, and then it's how it's interpreted. And I think that everybody would tell you, and they would tell you, that the FTC and the DOJ are being very aggressive here.